again, his trial is going to start May 5th. We're all looking forward to it. That's when they're going to select the juror. And, they're going to be asking all the jurors different questions. Things like, do you think rich people get away with stuff, rather than poor people? Like they're going to ask, what's your music choice? So we will have to see what happens, But they were trying to say that Diddy used drugs to make his victims more compliant, which that's understandable. Like, apparently, if they're in their right state of mind, why would they do whatever Diddy wants them to do, So, are you guys excited to see his trial? Or, do you think Diddy has come up with a master plan to get out of this whole thing? I think it's going to be interesting. It keeps changing with the things happening with Diddy. Diddy is going to be obviously trying to influence his jurors, with how he shows up in court. And Diddy is trying to say that video of him with Cassie when he was beating her, he's saying that happened because he claimed he cheated, basically. That was how that video happened in the first place, okay? So I don't think that makes it right, Diddy. It does not, okay? So now let's see what else they are saying. So the juror selection is just a week away. And I hope, Diddy, they pick some black people for you. Hopefully they pick some black people, because it's not looking good right now. And I hope R. Kelly, has been praying for you while you're in prison. Okay? Okay, so he was first arrested 6 months ago. We're going over what has happened to Diddy. Okay? I'm skimming through. Okay, so they're trying to say Diddy's legal team had to file a notice by the deadline in order to introduce evidence of the effects of drugs and alcohol on his memory. Okay, so I think this is the little scheme they're coming up with to try to make up that's why he's doing what he's doing. To act like Diddy doesn't know no better. When Diddy, you know better, Diddy. You want to do what you want to do because you're all the way up here, being that you're a celebrity. You want to be able to manipulate the court system now by coming up that you wasn't in the right mental state because of the drugs you were using, which we all know is a lie. That even then you knew what you were doing. You were trying to engage in activity with people you knew wouldn't generally want to unless there was drugs in their system. That's really what happened, Diddy. Okay, so I'm trying to see. They're not really completely showing any new news yet. I'm skimming through. Okay, just a second. But yes, that's his strategy. He's going to try to say it's something wasn't right with him mentally. Like he's going to try to use that to get him out of the situation. That's his bold new strategy, they're saying, before the trial is set to begin. And don't forget to tune in May 5th because that's when it begins. And he's 55 years old. And since he has been in prison, they said, of course, that he's been having extra gray hair and not looking like his normal Sean P. Diddy Combs self, which that shouldn't surprise anybody. Okay, let's see what else they are saying. Well, I think he's probably got some other tricks up his sleeves besides this. I can't believe that this is the only one. I'm sure maybe my prediction is a celebrity is going to show up and speak on Diddy's behalf. That's going to change things around for you, Diddy. I think you're going to have somebody show up and really help you out and speak on your... That's my prediction, you guys. Let me see what else they're saying. And then they're reminding everyone Diddy is seen with one of his famous white parties, all white parties, alongside Leonardo DiCaprio back in 1998. Here's Diddy doing his little parties. You see, Diddy's not innocent, and neither is Leonardo. Maybe he should show up to the court. Okay, so let's see. I'm sure Cassie wants him to be locked up for at least 20 years because of the way he's talked about her, too. Okay, so they're trying to say that Diddy is not what everybody thinks he is. They're trying to say Diddy is a swinger and did nothing wrong during his XXX parties. Okay, so they're trying to just claim that Diddy's a swinger, as if that's going to make everything he did right, which we know that is not going to make things right. So let's see what else they're saying. I'm going to see what another source is saying. Because so far, I think, Diddy, you're going to be in there for a little bit. Okay, so let's see what's going to happen at the trial. I'm still getting it together, you guys. Okay, so less than 1 year after his arrest at the Manhattan Hotel, Sean Diddy Combs' ex-trafficking trial is approaching quickly with the preliminary stages of jury selection. Okay, that's going to start April 28th, okay? And, okay, so look. I'm sure they're going to pick somebody who claims that they never really heard of Diddy, just so they think that that part will be fair. Somebody who just really, doesn't watch celebrity figures, but you're from New York, but they would look like I didn't even know who he was, Hey, how you guys doing? What country do you live in? Moe's? Okay, so anyway, the mogul came out in 63 lawsuits that includes claims that he has abused minors. That's what they're trying to say. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to see what else they're saying. Okay, so also they're trying to say that Pakistan, welcome Pakistan. So they're trying to say too that there are people who are still confused about what Diddy has exactly done. Okay, so look, you guys, they're trying to say that the music mogul faces 5 counts on charges that includes racketeering, conspiracy, fraud, ex-trafficking, force, just too much stuff. Willingness to engage in prostitution, just a bunch of, I like that little emoji. Yeah, just a bunch of crap. The authorities are claiming they found evidence of his freak-offs, his long days of his XX type of partying that was fueled by drugs during raids of his Miami and Los Angeles homes back in March of 2024. Okay, so let's see what else they're saying. They're talking about how he drew lots of women in his orbit and then forced them to participate in these parties. That's what the prosecutors are alleging. They said these routine events were elaborate and produced, certain types of, what type of performances that Mr. Combs arranged. You need to work on your English, Moles. Okay, so look. So one of Diddy's victims had said that after the freak-off ended, the victim typically received an IV type of fluid to recover from the physical, whatever happened to them that they're claiming. That's what I wish they would really let us know what happened. Okay, so now this victim's trying to say that they had to perform, nude for Diddy and do stuff to themselves. That's what they're claiming, and that Diddy recorded it. That's what they're saying here. And then they're saying again that Cassie is claiming that Diddy had raped her. That's what she's claiming, and that he abused her when she was only 19. Okay, so looks like there's a lot to uncover. And it's amazing how there's people asking, is Mr. Combs in jail right now? Yes, he's still in jail, you guys. He is at the Metropolitan Detention Center, and he is waiting, you guys. He's waiting for his trial. He's there with Luigi Mangione, who stands there, who is accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back last year in December. That is his not so happy jailmate. That's, I guess, his little new friend. But Mangione, I think that's how you say his last name, is getting more attention than him. Potentially landing the accused assassin on the rapper's crap list. So it sounds like Diddy's not happy that Luigi is getting all this attention. Interesting. Okay. So anyway, April 28th, that's when the prospective jurors will arrive at court for the questionnaires. Okay, and they're going to have to fill out, many different questionnaires on April 29th. And yeah, then they're going to get selected. Let's see what else they say. Okay, so by May 1st, the judge will select these jurors. All right, so let's see. Will the Diddy trial be televised? All right, let's figure that out. Yeah, so they're not really telling us if it's going to be televised yet. I'm assuming, why wouldn't it be televised? Like, come on. I think it will be. Just like every other. Let's see. Okay, so let's see who the judge and lawyers at Diddy's case. All right, let's see who these people are. Okay, so Sean Diddy Combs, his attorney is Mike Agfalilo and Timmy Geragos. They arrived at the Manhattan Federal Court last year in New York. Okay, so we know those are those two. Let's see if we can get a little picture. Okay, so here's those two people. That's what his attorneys look like. Yep. So yeah, this is a week away before Diddy's trial starts. That's exciting, right, Diddy? Okay. Okay, so the judge's name is Aram Subramanian, said at a hearing Friday that he will allow graphic surveillance video of Diddy attacking his ex-girlfriend Cassie to be shown during the trial. That's not going to look so good for you, Diddy, but we've all seen it anyway. So Diddy's former chief of staff, Christina Corream, stood by his side for years, but that working relationship has also brought her intense scrutiny. Okay. All right. They said at least 3 civil suits allege she covered up his behavior, though she hasn't been charged with any crimes. Okay. Okay, trying to say prosecutors are expected to call an expert witness named Don Hughes. That's what they're saying. They said she's a forensic psychologist who played a key role in other high-profile legal sagas, including the 2021 prosecution of singer R. Kelly and the defamation trial involving actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I took a closer look at her background and expertise. Okay, so let's see what else they're saying. This is going to be an interesting case. I'm trying to see what they're saying about these other people at his trial. Okay, so Diddy's lead attorneys are no stranger to high-profile cases. That's something to know, to know how it will go. Okay, so Mark Antony, that's his middle name, Antony, a veteran criminal defense lawyer, previously represented a cult leader, an ex-cult leader. Okay, so they're used to this type of stuff. Yeah, so that's some of the people. But let's see if there's anything that we want to add in about what's going on with Diddy. Okay, I want to see what they're saying from this standpoint. They're asking the question. They said, did he have the mental capacity to commit crimes? Okay, so they're saying that prosecutors are trying to say that could potentially call Diddy's mental state into question in court filings. This is what they came up with. They said any testimony that might show that Sean Diddy Combs didn't have the mental capacity to commit the crimes he's accused of because of the effects of drugs or alcohol. Okay, let's see. I'm still skimming through. But they're saying too that in order to convict someone of a crime, prosecutors need to prove that a defendant committed the crime and had a guilty mind. So that's stuff to keep in mind too when talking about Diddy. Okay, but keep in mind that at his trial, they're going to keep bringing up how Diddy's mental capacity was affected by alcohol and drugs. That's where they're going to try to make it seem like maybe that's the only way they'll be able to get Diddy out of this situation, by saying something like that. That's my guess. Okay, but they do want you to know though too that Diddy, if he's convicted, the Boy Records founder could face life in prison. And yes, he's been behind big bars since his arrest, and he's been denied bail many times so far. And they said the prosecutors have said where the stuff he did were highly orchestrated XX type of performances involving women who were allegedly forced and coerced into participating, as well as male type of XX workers. Okay. All right. This shouldn't surprise you. So, yeah, so Diddy is, so the moral of the story is they are going to just try to claim that Diddy is not a criminal. Diddy is a swinger, okay? That sounds like that is their plan. That's the way they're going to get Diddy out of this, besides my prediction about a celebrity speaking on Diddy's behalf to show the type of character and person he is, I think that will happen too. A secret person will show up and speak for Diddy. I'm assuming, when you have that level of star power, yes, I think someone in the celebrity world is going to come speak for you, to say something on your behalf. It could be Usher. You never know. Usher might show up too because he wants to help his music sales and he thinks, all publicity will be good for him during the trial. So you never know, you guys. I think Diddy is praying very hard with his Bible nearby. I think that Diddy is, going to pretend to have something mentally wrong, like what they're saying. I think Diddy, has been practicing since he's stuck in there, and I don't think you should be jealous, Diddy, that Luigi is getting all this attention, because you're a celebrity and, no one's ever going to be more popular than you. He's just a new guy, so you shouldn't be intimidated by him. But yeah, check out my other videos on Diddy, you guys, to kind of know more of the history, and don't forget to check out my prison series. That's my most famous series that I created just for you guys. And yeah, you guys, you have to stay tuned. And May 5th is the day that we will all be watching the news to stay tuned to see what's going on with Diddy. And I know Diddy is feeling like May 5th can't get here any faster, but it will be here before you know it in a week. So I will be seeing you guys on the next one, and stay tuned, you guys. Bye.